The Icon, A-Town's finest, the big draw, the Maltese Falcon. Rocky Menero has been known by many monikers during his nearly 2-decade-long career. But for over 600 days, there has been another name synonymous with him: Champion. Since May 24, 2019, there has only been one man to hold the Riot City Wrestling Championship. And for over 600 days, and through 8 successful title defenses, Rocky Menero has cemented his legacy as one of, if not the greatest champion in the history of Riot City Wrestling. Today, on a very special edition of the RCW Rewind, we'll be taking a look back at this historic title reign. Our story begins at Reanimated 14 on February 1st, 2019. A singles match signed between Menero and Adam Brooks would become a match for the vacant key to the city, the holder of which would be able to unlock a championship match at any place, any time. After a hard-fought match against the future Ring of Honor superstar, Rocky Menero would be able to pick up the win and become the bearer of the key. Rocky would go on to hold the key for several months, biding his time and waiting for the right moment to unlock his championship match. This moment would come on May 24th, 2019 at Super Clash 2. After successfully defending the RCW Championship against Kurt Barron, Rocky would pounce on a weakened Zack Sabbath and pin the champion after a top rope elbow, thus becoming the RCW champion for the second time in his illustrious career. In July at Long Live the King, Menero would grant Sabbath his rematch. After fending off the barrage of offense by the champion, Sabbath would hit the Vile Driver and seemingly regain his RCW championship. This was not to be, however, as the referee discovered a steel chain that Menero had earlier planted in Sabbath's tights and reversed the decision, therefore disqualifying Zack Sabbath and awarding Menero his first successful championship defense. In August, at Key to the City, the champion would enact the controversial one and done rule, mandating that anyone who unsuccessfully challenges for the RCW Championship would be barred for challenging for 12 months. On the same show, Chris Basso would pick up a huge win over Matt Hayter and become the #1 contender for Menero's title. Rocky's next defense was scheduled for the Rocktoberfest show on October 11, 2019. He and Chris Basso would rekindle their old rivalry and put on a classic match, but before a decision could be met, Basso's self-proclaimed best friend, Matt Hayter, would inadvertently hit the challenger with a steel chair. Ever the opportunist, Menero pinned the prone Chris Basso to pick up his second successful title defense. Post-match, the current holder of the key to the city, Katie Trey, would enter the ring and announce his intentions to challenge for the RCW Championship at the Riot City Rumble event. This would perhaps prove to be Rocky's most controversial title defense to date. The match played out as normal for the most part, however the end occurred when the ringside photographer would slide a pair of brass knuckles to the champion, who would then deal the deciding blow and pick up his third successful title defense. The ringside photographer would be revealed as Miss Madeline, Rocky's personal assistant, and she would accompany him to ringside for several of his title defenses from here on out. Also at the Riot City Rumble, the Gladiator, Big Brody Marshall, would outlast 29 other men to win the Rumble match and earn a shot at the champion in December at Battle for Supremacy. This match would be the first time the two legendary figures in South Australian wrestling would face off one-on-one. However, the match would not go Marshall's way, as, in the closing moments, color commentator Tyler Daniels would seize the RCW Championship belt and align himself with the Menero by blindsiding the Gladiator, allowing the champion to once again walk out with the title. Following this title defense, the arena would be blackened out, and a familiar face would appear on screen, making his intentions known. Mick Moretti was a mental match for Menero, as, like the champion, he too had tricks up his sleeve. The only thing Moretti didn't account for was the numbers game of Menero's entourage, and during his next defense at Reanimated 15, the familiar trappings of the champion's gameplay would be on display. Distractions and interference allowed the champion to extend his title defense count to 5, and once again sentence an opponent to the void of the one and done. Later on the same show, Rocky would send his associate, Tyler Daniels, to interfere and cause a no contest to the number one contenders match between Steve Miller and Jet Armstrong. This decision would ultimately come back to haunt the champion, as in addition to Miller and Armstrong, the duo of the Viking Grimm and the undefeated Redshaw would challenge the champion to an 8-man tag team elimination match at the Adelaide Fringe Festival. Menero and Daniels would go on to add 2 more individuals to their ever-growing family, with the addition of Eli Theseus and Gabriel Eros, the Pariah. In exchange for assisting the Pariah in recapturing the RCW Tag Team Championship, the pair would join Menero and Daniels in the epic 8-man tag team match at a Glutton for Punishment. Things didn't go the family's way, however, and at the end of the night, Jet Armstrong would put the champion through a table, picking up the win for his team and earning a shot at the RCW Championship in the process. Unfortunately for Jet and the rest of the RCW fans, this title match would have to wait, as all live shows would be put on hold as the world dealt with a global pandemic. During this time, however, Menero would continue to bolster the support of his family, and in August, when RCW returned with We're Back, Baby, Menero and the Pariah would face Jet Armstrong and the current tag team champions Matt Hayter and Chris Basso, the world-class Egos, in a 6-man tag team match. Once again, Jet would pick up the victory for his team, further cementing his number one contender status. Later in August, at RCW 215 Rocky vs. Jet, the long-awaited title match would take place. This match would feature a valiant effort from the Defender of Tomorrow, Jet Armstrong. However, it wasn't enough to fend off the interference from Tyler Daniels, and a low blow from the champion, which sealed the deal, earned Menero his 6th successful title defense. Also at RCW 215, the undefeated Redshaw would make his intentions known, as he defeated Tyler Daniels in an impressive effort. At RCW 216, The Price's Fight, Menero would fulfill the promise he made to the Pariah many months ago by gifting them the RCW Tag Team Championship, and injuring the ribs of world-class Chris Basso in the process. This effectively split up the fan-favorite tag team of the world-class Egos, and sent Matt Hayter off on his own solo trajectory. Redshaw would finally face off with Menero at RCW 217 Red Dawn. In order to combat the devious tactics of the champion, a third umpire was put in place for this title defense, allowing one challenge to the referee's decision during the match. Menero would successfully implement the third umpire by reversing the decision of a 3 count. He would then go on to blindside Redshaw and roll him up to once again retain the RCW Championship. The outcome of this match would not go unnoticed, however, as another of RCW's undefeated monsters, Baron, would appear and scare off Menero and his family. Baron would then face off against the Pariah in a 2-on-1 handicap match on Halloween night, and handily defeat the RCW Tag Team Champions before continuing to torment the RCW Champion. The championship match was signed between Menero and Baron and would take place at the Riot City Rumble on January 16, 2021, in a Monsters Ball match. In a bloody and brutal affair, Rocky would use all of the tricks up his sleeve to defeat Baron, including using the members of the family to assist him in pinning the monster and once again retaining his RCW Championship, extending his reign to a monumental 8 successful title defenses. Later that night, RCW's annual Riot City Rumble match would take place, with the winner being guaranteed a match for the Riot City Wrestling Championship. Much to the dismay of Menero, Matt Hayter, who entered the match in the number 1 position, would go on to survive 19 other competitors to finally win the Rumble and gain the right to challenge for the RCW title. Will Matt Hayter be able to do what 8 others haven't and finally end the over 600-day reign of Rocky Menero? Or will this historic, legacy-defining reign of the RCW champion continue? Only time will tell. but the only way to find out is by attending our 2 upcoming shows at Adelaide's Fringe Festival. We'll see you under the big top.